G'day and welcome back to RC Model Reviews. This video is about Frsky. Now, I've seen a few videos popping up on my feed, people like Joshua Bardwell and others talking about Frsky jumper. There's a bit of a stoush going on here. There's a bit of a problem going on in the marketplace. I haven't looked at Joshua's video and haven't looked at many of the others because I wanted to provide my own opinion without being biased by having seen other people's opinions, right? So this is straight from the hip. And it is what I think, and only based on the information I've read. Now, I've seen a memorandum, which is basically Frsky telling a dealer or dealers, if you sell the jumper, then we may withdraw supply of product and support for you. And this is kind of like, whoa, this is clamping down on competition, isn't it? I think the jumpers got Frsky really worried. Now, Frsky, just a little bit of history. Let's go back a bit. My first association with Frsky was when they sent me a module and receiver to review, and I reviewed it. And this was at the time that modules and receivers were the big thing. Everyone was converting their JR or their Futaba gear to 2.4 gigahertz by bunging a module in the back and buying some new receivers. Now, there was Corona, there was a raft of different manufacturers all competing in this module market, and some of them were okay. I mean, Corona was okay. It wasn't fantastic, it was okay. And there was, I forget the names of the others, it's so long ago and I'm old. But Frsky brought this product out and I tested it and it worked really well because the Corona was just DSS. It wasn't frequency hopping, so it was vulnerable to interference, and also it was a bit slow to bind up and things. It had a few issues. And a lot of the other ones were just DSS. All they did was just sit on one frequency with a spread spectrum signal, and so they could be bowled out pretty easily, but like DSM2, although that used two frequencies. But Frsky came along with a frequency hopping system, which worked really well. You could have 90% of the band blocked out, and it would still manage to get through on that last 10%. So I reviewed it. I said, this is a really good product. I looked at the way it was built. It was sound construction. It was sound design. Hey, perfect. So people saw my review and they bought the product and they liked it and they told their friends, and so the rest is history. Frsky has flourished as a brand. It has become one of the leading suppliers of RC products or RC systems in the world. Effectively, they have eclipsed the at the hobby level, they've eclipsed Futaba and JR, and probably the only real competition is Spectrum. You know, they've done a really good job, but now things are starting to change, and I think Frsky is starting to feel a bit of hurt. Now, Frsky used to send me products to review, and I reviewed them, and they sent me a Horus to review, and I wasn't very impressed with the Horus. Now, I think Frsky had done very well out of the low end of the market with their Tyrannus 9X. And all the associated receivers and modules and things and the telemetry. They've done very, very well. They sent me a Horus and I just wasn't impressed with the Horus. They were trying to muscle into the market that was now basically Futaba's market with the MZ18 or whatever it is, M18Z, I forget what it is. Anyway, the flash Futaba. They wanted to muscle in with a flash transmitter, you know, high price, high margin. And they didn't do a very good job, I'm afraid. They really didn't do a very good job. So I said so, and that's when basically Frsky stopped talking to me, as we know, because I was no longer useful to them as an advertising medium or as a promotional medium, and because I call a spade, and there's been quite a few manufacturers have stopped sending me stuff because I've called them out on a bad product, and okay, there are hundreds of other YouTube reviewers who'll give us a good review regardless of the quality of our product, so we'll send our products to them. So I don't get sent stuff from a number of manufacturers anymore. I don't care. You know, I'm not here to shill for products. But anyway, so Frsky then came out with the QX7, which they didn't send me one, but I reviewed it and I found it to be a very good product again. And the QX7S, or whatever it is, again, very good product. And now I see they have brought out a new transmitter, the 9X Lite, I think it's called. And I saw it on Banggood, and at the time, they wanted $59 for it. And I thought, oh, hey, you know, I might buy one of those and review it. And then I looked more closely at the specs and I thought, what the hell is this radio? Now, I thought it'd be quite handy to have another small Frsky radio. I could throw in my backpack for mini quads and things like that. But then I looked at it and I couldn't figure out why they made this radio. The big thing was it's not backwards compatible. Honestly, if you've got a dozen or 2 dozen existing X series or D series Frsky receivers, then this transmitter won't work with them. I mean, excuse me, you're cutting off all that legacy stuff? No, why? There must be something really important. This new protocol, this access protocol that they're talking about that is in the 9X Lite, it must have some fantastic extra benefits for you to be prepared to cut off all that legacy equipment from being able to be used with it. So I had a look, and what were the features? What were the benefits? Well, it'll do 24 channels. Really? that's a benefit. The existing system does 16 channels. I've never used more than I think 8 channels. And most of my models are in the case of quads, they're 6 or 7 channels. And in the case of fixed wing, they might be 5 or 6 channels. That's all I use. Why would I want 8 extra channels I'm never going to use? That is not justification for basically making all my old receivers incompatible. No. So that's not the reason that this protocol would be any good. Then I looked further on and it offers encryption. Encryption! So people can't snoop on what your stick positions are and your switch positions are. Seriously? I've never had a problem with people wanting to hack into my radio system and see where my sticks are on my transmitter. No, it doesn't happen again. This is a solution looking for a problem. There's not a lot of secret squirrel information going between my transmitter and my plane, or my plane and my transmitter. Seriously, this is ridiculous. So why have we got access? Why have we got this new protocol? It's got lower latency, but honestly, the latency is not a problem on my existing Frsky gear, especially if you've got crossfire in the back. So latency isn't a problem either. The whole lot of problems they're fixing that really don't exist. And then I worked out what's going on here, and I think probably most other people have worked it out as well. Now the real problem is that Frsky, as I said, is feeling the pain, it's feeling the hurt. They came out with a good product, they grew the market, they have dominance in the market, and as always happens, as Frsky did themselves, one of the products they were selling early on was a fast compatible receiver, a receiver that would work with Futaba transmitters. So they figured, well, let's muscle in on Futaba's market and steal some of their receiver sales. It's what businesses do, right? And so that's what they did. But then we have the situation at the moment where we've got Jumper. I've reviewed the Jumper transmitter. You can find that review. I think it was the last video I did, or one before that. And it's a good transmitter. It's a good transmitter. It's not perfect, but it's a pretty good transmitter. And as a value proposition, it's an excellent value proposition. It's got lots of bells and whistles and features, and it's nicely made. So I think Frsky is saying, hey, what's going on? People are starting to sell gear that's compatible with our gear, and we're not getting any money out of it. And if you look also, you find that there are quite a few third-party manufacturers of Frsky compatible receivers using the ACCST system, the old protocol, not the Access, not the new one, but the old one, because it's a fairly simple protocol. It's easy to reverse engineer, it's easy to write code that's compatible with it. So a number of manufacturers are producing Frsky compatible receivers, and that keeps the prices down, because they sell at a lower price point, which means Frsky can't just go and profiteer. They've got to bring the prices in line with the competition. It's good for everybody. It means Frsky is basically still setting the standard, but they're having to keep the prices down for consumers. We get a good deal out of the whole thing. If we don't like the price of a Frsky receiver, you go and buy an off-market, off-brand one, and you get the same thing for a lower price. But Frsky don't like that. Oh, no, they did it to Futaba, but they don't like the fact that other companies are doing it to them. And so they have to come up with a counterattack. How are they going to stop these companies from selling Frsky compatible products? Well, what you do is you create a whole new protocol and you put encryption in it, because an open protocol, a protocol that's not encrypted, is easy to reverse engineer. Once you put a layer of encryption on it, it gets a whole lot harder. And they can also say, well, this encryption technique is out. They're probably patented it. I don't know, the particular type of encryption. Who knows? They've probably got mechanisms in there to make sure that if you want to copy that, we can sue the snot out of you. But mainly it's just it's obfuscation. If you can't see what's under the encryption, it's really hard to reverse engineer it. And so what they're going to do is create this new protocol, this access protocol, which doesn't benefit you or I. It only benefits Frsky because it locks out the competition. And in fact, that works against us, because it means you won't be getting access compatible receivers from third parties for quite some time until they work out how to reverse engineer the stuff. And I'm not happy with that. Why would I buy a new radio that didn't work with my existing receivers, which locked me into a closed protocol for which Frsky for some time will be the only supplier of receivers at whatever cost they choose to put on them? No. That's, sorry, more reason to buy a Jumper, isn't it? It's more reason to go and buy a Jumper transmitter, because with a Jumper you can use all the receivers you've got, be they Walkera or High-Tech or Futaba or Frsky or whatever. Yeah, get a Jumper. Don't waste your money on this new transmitter that's designed solely to make Frsky more difficult to clone. Yeah, that's what I'd say. Now, the Frsky's response has also been very, very sad, because they apparently have written to the dealers and said, if you sell the Jumper, one of these competitors to the Frsky products, that we may not provide you with product or support in the future. Really? Seriously? You're going to be bullies, Frsky? You're going to be a bully boy? That's not the way to grow a market. That's not the way to win friends and influence people. People loved Frsky because they were good value. And if you are good value, if you represent a really good value point in the market, you don't have to bully your dealers. They'll beg you to supply product. No, if you have to bully your dealers into not selling a competing product, it means your product is no longer competitive, and that's not good. Frsky need a bit of a lesson in business and how to run a business right now, because they are doing all the wrong things. They should be innovating. They should be focusing on the customer, giving the customer what they want at the price that's acceptable to them, and they won't have to worry about the competition. No. So, I mean, and they've been pretty good. They've got the little Lite transmitter. They've done some really good things, but now they're just getting a bit, I think they can see that their time at the top may be coming to an end. They have to come up with something really special and new, and it's certainly not Access, and it's certainly not a chintzy knockoff of the 9X, which is incompatible with all the previous technology. No, absolutely not. So here's a question for viewers. Do you want me to buy one of these transmitters? And the price keeps going up because, I don't know, they were cheap introductory price, $59. The next time I looked, they were $69, and they're probably going to be $79. They'll probably be $90 by the time they actually reach the final market, in which case it's an appalling value. Why would you buy that transmitter when you can go and buy a Frsky for $49 or less? I don't know what it is. Because it just doesn't have the features. Doesn't have the features that the QX7 has or the proper 9X has. So it's not a good value proposition. If that's the best you can do, Frsky, you've lost the war. You really have lost the battle. So there you go. Now, yeah, as I say, do you want me to buy one and review it anyway? I'll have to buy one of those and a receiver, so that's going to put the price up probably in terms of New Zealand dollars. It's going to be over 100 New Zealand dollars by the time I do that. It would be about 67 cents to the US dollar at the moment. So it'll be $120 or something like that to do that. I'm happy to do that if that's what you want. I will review it and tell you what I think. Look at the new Access protocol, tell you if it's anything other than just a way of Frsky protecting its backside. And there you go. So now I might go and look at Joshua's videos now that I've had my say. He may say something completely different. I don't know. But yeah, it's exciting times in the hobby, isn't it? I don't know. I'm a little bit... No, I suppose I'm not concerned. Because if Frsky discontinue the D and the X series, I'm sure other companies out there will be offering products at good prices. And all Frsky are doing is digging themselves a hole. If they switch everything over to Access and they focus on Access, they may find that their market starts disappearing because people don't need encryption. They don't need 24 channels. What they need is good value. And Frsky, you're not offering for good value at all. There you go, thanks. I'm having a bad day, honestly, I'm having a bad day. Thank you for watching the video. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you don't, give it a thumbs down. Don't forget my XJet channel, because I've got a coffee and a chat coming up soon where I'll be talking about various things. And stay tuned. I've got some really interesting products which are on the review bench now. And as I say, I'm here editing today, get this stuff out. But I thought this was quite time critical. I'd get it out now. And I probably made a complete fool of myself. I may have completely misinterpreted everything that I've said. It may be complete garbage. But hey, it's too late now. You've already seen it. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye for now, and thank you to my Patreon supporters.